Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. We're going to be discussing a couple of Arsenal stories today. I'm a little bit late. Not, I'm massively late, by the way. Very, very, very late. But I'm sorry for that. We're going to be discussing Dusan Vlahovic and what the Fiorentina manager has actually said. Really interesting comments, in there, but also the Time Sport are saying that the agent now is demanding 15 million pounds in order to let the player leave in January. We will be discussing Mikel Arteta's new contract proposal as well. Arsenal have offered Mikel Arteta a 2-year contract extension because his contract actually runs down in 2023. So they want him to sign a new contract in order to to reduce the possibility of him going to Manchester City. That one is also there. And personal terms have been agreed between Arsenal and Matana, and the deal is very, very close to being finalized. Arsenal will be getting in that USA goalkeeper. As well in this January transfer window. I'll be giving you an update around Arthur Melo. It's still very, very complicated. Like Fabrizio Romano has been saying, it's still very, very complicated, but one that is not actually off. It is not a deal off, but very, very complicated. I think it's the same thing with Vlahovic. I wanted to write deal over, but you just feel like, it's still there, right? It's still there. So we're going to be discussing whatever is happening around those two deals. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel as well. It massively helps, and it massively means a lot to a content creator. Right. Let's start off with that Dusan Vlahovic and the comments that have been made today by the Fiorentina manager. I think Fiorentina have been very, very vocal in this deal. Already, they want to sell. At least that much we know. They want to sell. They want to let the player go, and that's why they're trying to do whatever they can, right? So Fabrizio Romano, this is according to Romano, put up by Romano 1 hour ago, and it says Fiorentina manager Italiano on Dusan Vlahovic rumors. He has said, "I see the same Dusan Vlahovic every day." Actually said, "I see the same Dusan every day here." Every single day. We have a lot of rumors about his future, as always, but nothing has changed. I can't wait for the transfer market to close. Interesting comments. Absolutely very, very interesting comments from Italiano, manager at Fiorentina. And I think this is where Arsenal now, we've got to accept it. We either have to accept. I'm also going to give you. I'm going to give you what Fabrizio Romano thinks about this of recent. What he said about this of recent, because he's of the view that in the last 10 days we might see something very huge, something very big from Arsenal towards the agent of the player. But at the moment, Fiorentina are saying they would love to sell, but at the moment, nothing has changed. According to the manager, Italiano, he says nothing has changed between the situation right from day one. Nothing has changed. The same Vlahovic they've been having is the same player, he has. And he says, I can't wait for the transfer market to close. That is a huge statement. That is an absolutely huge statement. If you remember if you remember yesterday, we had comments from the director at Fiorentina, and he was saying that negotiations, transfer negotiations cannot be two-sided. They have to be, you have to have a third party in there. You have to have a club that is willing to sell, and I've already said this, a club that is a willing buyer, a willing seller, and a player who's ready and willing to move. Now, Fabrizio Romano, in the last 24 hours, he has come out and said Vlahovic has received all the offers from clubs in this January. However, his stance, his position has not changed in a little bit. His position is still the same. He wants to move in the summer. He wants to look at it, he wants to look at the summer as his opportunity. He's looking at this time at Fiorentina as a honeymoon period. He's looking at it as the kind of spell that you just want to keep on, living in, the kind of time that you don't want to end, that kind of, and I do agree with him. It has a lot of romanticism around it. So yesterday, Fabrizio Romano, talking to DR Sports, he said that it is going to take a king's ransom. And that's a huge statement. That's a huge term to use. And I think it's the right term for me to use. It's going to take a king's ransom to lure Dusan Vlahovic to Arsenal. Arsenal are more than willing to fund the move. However, look, and I think this is where now, this is where it would be interesting, right? Because in the last 2 hours, reports are claiming that the agent of the player wants 15 million pounds. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I think some of these rumors really are not true. I think they're speculative, but they point to one thing, that this is a player who's going to move in the summer. This is a player who's ready for a next step. But they want lots and lots of money out of this transfer. His agent wants lots and lots of money. At first, it was £8 million, then £10 million, then £15 million. He wants the money. It's the question there. That is the question that I think we have to ask. Is Arsenal going to pay that 15 million? Are we going to pay that 15 million to the agent? Yesterday, I said, don't give Dusan Vlahovic 300,000 per week. I said, no. Should we give his agent 15 million pounds per week? 15 million pounds in bonuses, in agent fees, after paying 77 million euros and losing Lucas Torreira? That is over the odds. That is paying over the odds. But I think, again, it is something that, we have no choice, maybe. We've got no choice. Because if you look at Vlahovic, it's gonna cost us around 77 million euros plus the 15 million pounds. That's around 90. It's around 90 million for Dusan Vlahovic, right? Then you have Alexander Isak, who has got the same release clause, 90 million euros. So the question is, do you go for Vlahovic, or do you go for Isak? Isak would be willing to join. Dusan is not ready to join. However, Dusan has at least has better numbers than Alexander Isak. Dusan Vlahovic has at least better numbers in the last 2 years as compared to the numbers of Alexander Isak and players like Jonathan David. But again, today reports have actually come out and said that this January, Arsenal will try to look at other alternatives, and I think that is the thing to do. That is what Arsenal have to do. We've got to think about other alternatives. We've got to think about something else. We've got to. It's not like moving on. I'm not trying to say Arsenal should move on. This is a shit deal. No, not really. But we've got to think about something else. For me, we've got to think about something else. So today in the morning, reports have been flying here and there, are claiming that Arsenal will be considering and will be looking at Jonathan David and trying to explore the possibility of getting him in January. Now, at least we know this much. We know. I think for this deal, it is not as complicated as Dusan. Lille Metropole have made themselves clear after losing Jonathan Ikone to Lille. They do not want to associate themselves with anything like a January transfer move for their top striker, Jonathan David. They do not want. They've actually, for them, it is not even something astronomical. No, they're not looking at that. They're looking at selling in the summer. Actually, the agent of the player came out and said in January, it's not going to be a move that really happens, but this could be this is the last year he's going to be playing in the French League. Big points, huge talking points there. So again, Jonathan David, January, not one to do. Real Sociedad have already come out and said, if you want Alexander Isak in January, it's 90 million euros, non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Right. Calvin Lewin can Everton. I mean, there would be, look, they've already made that kind of transfer, mistake where they've let go of Lucas Dean to or Digne to Aston Villa, and in my point, I was like, wait a minute, did they do this? But I think the relations between Lucas Digne and the manager then, Rafa Benitez, and also the relationship, in terms of personal, on a personal basis, had gone wrong. I think that's the reason why we're looking at Lucas Digne going to Aston Villa for £25 million. I think it was even low. They should be, Aston Villa did get him on a bargain. They should be paying over the odds. But when you think about Calvert-Lewin, they can't, despite the fact that Rafa Benitez has gone. Any manager that comes in, whether they're going to be using Ferguson as caretaker throughout the end of the season, or they're going to get Frank Lampard, or they get Juan McCrory, whoever is going to come in, I think the priority, and this is it, the priority would be to keep your best players at Everton. And in that, you're looking at Calvert-Lewin, you're looking at Townsend, you're looking at Doucouré, you're looking at Arlen, you're looking at Pickford, and a couple of other players around around that squad. So January for Calvert-Lewin, no. And even in the summer, I'm not very, very sure this is a deal we can do. Ollie Watkins in January, they can't let him go. I think at the moment they have one striker that is that is active, that is working. I think Danny Ings in that attacking duo, he's offering nothing. I'm sorry to say, but he's offering nothing at Aston Villa. So if you look at Arsenal, really, lads, and what we can do, right? What we can do in this January in terms of a striker, it leaves us with Dusan Vlahovic, the agent that's come out. The manager at Fiorentina has come out and said we can't wait for the transfer window to end, to close, because that means, look, that means he's staying. That is, I mean, he's so confident. He's so confident that he's staying, because he says nothing has changed, and I just can't wait for the market to close. Because again, it just curbs down those rumors. For a club like Fiorentina, who are sixth on the table in the Serie A at the moment, it is disrupting. Yeah, it's definitely disrupting. If you remember the comments of Dusan Vlahovic that I mentioned a week ago, he said, "I want to take Fiorentina back to Europe. It's been a long time ever since we were in Europe, and I would love to take Fiorentina back to Europe." That is that is what he said. So look, despite the fact that Fiorentina do not want that, that's not the option they want. There is nothing to do, right? There's nothing to do. And what hurts me, lads, is that a striker is our priority. Getting in a striker is our priority. We saw it against Liverpool. The kind of very, very, look, Lacazette gets that chance. Lokonga, well done. Absolutely. That is magical. That is sensational. Didn't have a good game, but there was the moment of quality. And I think that is what Liverpool have done. They have gone to the market and looked through and through and through. And they brought in those kind of players that just have the ability to create moments of quality. I wish Arsenal could do the same. Go for players like Christopher Nkunku. Those players that just have moments of magic, moments of quality in them. If you look at that, if you look at that opportunity Lacazette got, that is an opportunity that is it's an opportunity that, for me, whether you like it or not, right? Whether you like it or not, it's an opportunity that should be going to the back of the net. It is. But we know that Lacazette is not that kind of striker anymore that is that clinical. He's no longer that clinical. Look, I think in the last game they played, it was 6-0. Vlahovic missed a penalty, and really, I think he decided to go fancy. If you look at the rest of the penalties he's taken, he's been going for power, he's been going for preciseness. But in that last one, he went for for fancy, right? And it didn't work out. But if you look at the goal he scored in that game, very, very similar to the goal Alexander Lacazette did miss against Liverpool. And if Lacazette scored that goal, it just changes the dimension of the game. It changes whatever. It changes everything in that game. We go 1-1. We are at home. Partey comes onto the pitch. It is different, right? But the moment he misses that chance, Liverpool get their chance. They take it. It's gone. It is absolutely gone, gone, gone. Right. So a striker is a priority, and I do not blame Edu. I do not blame Mikel Arteta. How many strikers are available this January? Look, we are not in a position as the fans where we can be choosy, right? But I didn't like Patrick Schick, and deep down inside me, I'm like, maybe we could try Patrick Schick. Maybe we should try players like Jesse Lingard. I don't know. Maybe we should try players like Jesse Lingard and Patrick Schick. Because Schick is 25 at the moment. And, he's got that ability. No, I don't think he's going to become world class, really. But he's got the ability to become your Olivier Giroud. Again, he's not going to score for you 20, 30 goals in a season, but he's got the ability to score for you double figures. He's going to get those double figures around 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 per season. And I think that's what Arsenal should do, really. Go for Patrick Schick. Maybe try Patrick Schick. I never wanted him. And you remember when I was mentioning the strikers, I wanted Patrick Schick very far away. Absolutely very, very far away from the players I wanted. But what can we do? That's the question, lads. What can we do? There is nothing we can do at the moment. You either go for Patrick Schick. You either go for those that kind of lower tier players in January, or you leave it, because again, big moves in January, they might not just they might not happen like you want them. If you look at the players that have moved in January, the likes of strikers that have moved in January, the likes of Ikone, how many big moves have we seen in January? Probably Coutinho, but Coutinho cannot be considered a big move. Dembele from Barcelona to anywhere where to wherever he would go, you cannot consider that a big move at the moment, because you feel like it's because of spoiled relationship and failures at Barca. I think about Lucas Digne, maybe Lucas Digne. That's a huge one. That's a huge one for Aston Villa, right? So at the end, lads, Vlahovic, the frustration is growing. I want to trust Romano. I want to trust from Fabrizio Romano when he says, "Let's wait and see if something huge could happen between Arsenal and the agent's player, because that is the only thing we are left with." We have offered a salary that is astronomical to the player. We have offered a transfer fee that is agreeable with Fiorentina. We're just waiting for that agent agreement. Are we gonna get it? I do not know. I definitely don't know. Right. So 15 million euros is million pounds, sorry, is what the agent wants, according to latest reports. And Fabrizio Romano on DRS Sports saying that we might see something huge. We might see something big. Should we give Vlahovic's agent 15 million? That is spending 100 million on a 21-year-old player. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I'd love to get your thoughts there, lads, in the comments below. Do you think that lad, that agent of Dusan Vlahovic, should we give him that money? Should we be paying over the odds? Should we be giving him lots and lots of money? As an agent fee? As an agent fee? I mean, that's the point. That's the point, and that's the question. Right, a quick one on Arthur Melo. The situation on Arthur Melo has not yet changed. Juventus are still very, very adamant and cold. They are saying, yes, Arsenal, you're desperate. You need a midfielder. You want a midfielder, but we need to first get in a replacement. At the moment, they're looking at Denis Zakaria. So it looks like However much Arsenal are willing to agree to the terms of Juve are not willing to let go of Arthur unless they agree with Dennis Zakaria. So Arsenal is still there. And on this one, lies, on this one, I will blame Arsenal. I won't blame Arsenal if we fail to get in a striker, because top strikers at the moment, difficult deals. Even Patrick Schick. I've talked about Patrick Schick, but even Patrick Schick, um, you've seen Leverkusen saying 50 million. 50 million. If you don't have 50 million, we are not giving you Patrick Schick. And that's it. Top players, top strikers, big money, difficult moves. So 50 million for Patrick Schick, I feel like no, we can't do that. It's a deal we can't do. No, right? But I thought Patrick Schick could be around 35 million pounds or million euros. So that's it, lads. With Vlahovic, with Arthur Melo, deals are stalling. I don't want to come here and lie to you. That's a deal done or anything like that. The latest around there, Fabrizio Romano is saying that Arsenal need to pull off something big with the agent of the player. And Fiorentina manager Italiano saying that Vlahovic and the rumors are still here. Nothing has changed, and we cannot wait for the market to close. That is the authentic information coming out at the moment. Arthur Melo, authentic information coming out is Arsenal are willing to meet all the demands for that deal to happen. However, Juve are still very, very cold and they're relaxed. They're saying no replacement, no Arthur Melo leaving. If we get a replacement, then Arthur Melo leaves. That is, because I said that before and I re-echo it again because that is the update that is available today. Right, so but the biggest storyline today is about Mikel Arteta. And we're going to be discussing Mikel Arteta's new contract offered 2 years. Yes. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe. Make sure you do follow me on 99 Sport, where I'm going to start, clipping out these small videos, these small segments, and then re-upload them on 99 Sport so that we can for easier consumption. So make sure you do subscribe to 99 Sport. If you cannot watch the whole live stream, I know it is at times it is an hour, at times it is 2 hours, and you cannot watch it. You have other obligations. It's okay. Subscribe to 99 Sport. The moment I finish the live stream, I'll be re-uploading these small segments up there on 99 Sport so that you do not miss any information. Right. So, I will try to talk about transfers a little bit later. Leno and Matana, personal terms agreed on that one. Deal very, very close to being agreed. Talks are ongoing very well. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nothing to be concerned about. Leno to Newcastle. He's not really aware. Actually, he's not sure of committing his future to Newcastle, but he would love to give it a try. Probably an initial 6-month loan deal to Newcastle, and then if they survive relegation, I'm sorry for Newcastle fans, True Jordy, one of my biggest YouTubers there in the world, and now streaming live on Twitch, True Jordy, but I think he's looking at you as Newcastle and is like, what if I go to Newcastle and then they get relegated? What do I do? I think, but we'll discuss that, in the final bit of the video. Let's talk about Mikel Arteta. Now, the Mirror, sorry if this is the story we should have discussed first. The Mirror have said that Mikel Arteta has been offered a new contract proposal at Arsenal, right? At Arsenal, with interest, that he will be getting more money than he's currently getting, right? And also, the motive is Arsenal want to avoid any future disappointments of Manchester City taking Mikel Arteta. Now, his current contract expires in 2023. That means at the end of the season, this season, he'll be left with 1 year on his contract. So the question lies there is, Does Mikel Arteta, has he done enough? Has he convinced you enough? I know I'm one of those people in the Six Things We Learn show. I've been one of those people coming out and screaming very, very loudly, right? Screaming very, very loudly about how Mikel Arteta has done a very good job, about how Mikel Arteta has improved the squad. But now this is time, reflection time. Uh, um, this is time to evaluate, give a very, very objective appraisal to Mikel Arteta. Does he deserve a 2-year contract extension plus more money? I need to get this from you lads more than from myself, because this is one where the fans need to have a say, right? This is one where the fans, and we shall have a call-in show, just about this. I promise. We shall have a call-in show just about this. Because listen, let's get into it. Right, Mikel coming into this Arsenal side, and I've said it. I've been Mikel Arteta out right from day one. When he was when his name was mentioned as one of the managers that Arsenal were looking at. The reason I wanted a serious manager, I wanted someone who is going to put pressure on these lumpens, or up in the hierarchy. That is what I wanted. Mikel, being a novice manager, being the fact that this is his first job, into his first managerial role in a club, especially a big club. He was never going to be that kind of manager that puts pressure onto the Cronkies, onto the likes of Vinay, and all the sort. So I never wanted him. But we've got to put into consideration that it comes into this Arsenal side that it was rotten to the core. The group of players we had, the mentality at the side, the attitude, the discipline, and I think no wonder we have received more red cards ever since Mikel took than ever team in the Premier League. We have received more red cards. Xhaka getting one, Gabriel getting one, Partey getting one. I mean, you can count and count and count, right? But have I seen progress? Yes, I have. I have seen progress with Mikel Arteta. I've seen changes. I've seen a project. I've seen an identity. I've seen things that you can say, even when a manager goes away, he has built something like a structure. There is something like a structure. These players that he's brought in, players that do believe in him, players that do believe in themselves, players that do believe they can do well, you've got to give him some credit there. But is it credit enough to give him a new contract? Is it time for Arsenal to get in a serious manager now? A manager that takes us to the next level? Or is it time to back Mikel Arteta more? I'm gonna say this in two perspectives. One is give him the money, but not the contract. So look, he will be left with 1 year, 1 year on his contract in the summer. What we should do, and what I think Arsenal should do, give him the money, back him, get him a striker, 1 or 2, get him a midfielder, 1 or 2, get him a backup right back, or you could get him Tariq Lamptey and make Tomiyasu a backup right back. Depends on what whatever he wants. He already has a good left back and backup. Bring back William Saliba and also get a backup goalkeeper when Leno leaves. Back him in the summer. Give him a sensible squad. Don't give him the contract yet. Give him a sensible squad, right? And then see how he does until January next year, 2023. If by January next 2023, if he's not fighting comfortably to be in the top 4, don't give him a new contract. No. Don't give him a new contract. As simple as that. Don't give him a new contract. Don't. Because you need to see progress. Yes, I think he's changed so much around this team. He's introduced the non-negotiables. He's introduced some kind of standards to the team, but it is not, he's not yet there. He's not yet there. But I believe, he can be there, right? And if he knows that you're giving him money to test him, you're giving him money to see whether he does well, then definitely, he's gonna work hard. So, like, my opinion, my thoughts are, and this is one, like I said, this is one where Arsenal fans do need to get in their thoughts 100%. You need to talk to me, definitely. Talk to me, please do talk to me. Don't stay quiet in the comments box. I mean, this is one where I might not ask you to hit the like button. Only hit the like button if you can. But I'm going to really ask you to get in the comment box and tell me, Mikel Arteta, does he deserve a new contract at the moment, or do you give him a contract when at the end of the season when you've seen that he's made it to top four? Because look, I think this is where Arsenal fool the fans, right? This is where Arsenal really, really do fool the fans. Because you know what they're trying to do? They're looking at Mikel, they're looking at West Ham, Spurs, and United. United could, because they have a very, very good squad, they have that kind of squad depth, and they have a very, very good manager. If the players can just grasp what he's trying to tell them to do, I think, we've seen him at Hoffenheim, we've seen him at Schalke. He's a good manager, Ralf Rangnick. He's not been a manager at the top level, but we know he's a very, very good manager. And as far as I know, he was going to be Arsenal manager until Arsenal, renewed the contract of Mesut Ozil. And I still wonder, if Ralf Rangnick wants players like Ozil, then if we renewed his contract, then why did he refuse to join us? But I want him, honestly. I wanted him. After Arsene Wenger getting Ralf Rangnick, I mean, the brand of football would have been a little bit different, but it would be modern. I think Wenger was playing that kind of football that was traditional, the traditional Barcelona style, and Ralf Rangnick plays the modern game pressing, football style. And we played him against Schalke. We played his Schalke in the Champions League. Oh my God, they almost killed us. You still remember the likes of Drexler, the likes of Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, that squad. They were class. They were good. I don't remember if Choupo-Moting was still there or he had joined them by then, but I don't remember. But I still remember Drexler and a couple of and a couple of players there. Right. So they're looking at Arsenal, looking at in this way. Why don't we give Mikel Arteta a contract right now when everyone thinks he's achieved it, so that at the end of the season, when he falls out of the top 4, top 5, top 6, he's already signed a contract anyway. I think that's what they're trying to do. Now they have used this kind of excuse that Manchester City are trying to take him. I mean, that's a lame excuse. That's a very, very lame excuse. I think, listen, Mikel cannot leave Arsenal, the project that he has at Arsenal, to go to Manchester City at the moment. He can't, because he knows this is his project, and he's not seen it. He's not seen it go bang. He just needs time. He needs more reinforcements. He knows that his project is moving in the same direction. And I've said that before. I think it was after the Leeds game. And I said this project is, I think it was the Manchester City game. And I said this project is moving in the same direction. You just need a little bit more backing. Just back him. But Mikel, new contract. What do you think, lads? I need to get your thoughts here. New contract for me, it's not very early, but give it to him at the end of the season, because this is a season where he's not played in Europe. All he had is play in the Premier League. He has no other commitment, right? And why it is not a very, very good season, he has dropped out of the Carabao Cup. He's dropped out of the FA Cup. Not a very good season. Like, Yes, it looks good because we are in the top four. I'm one person who was asked whether to get a trophy and top four, and they said top four. Yeah, top four. Yes, people love trophies, but getting to top four for me is my priority. I hate. I would love to do Champions League watch alongs. I'd love to see my club playing. Clubs that I rarely watch. I want to do those match previews. Arsenal, Hoffenheim, Arsenal, Leverkusen. I want to do those match previews, and I cannot do them with the Carabao Cup, right? So if it takes us back to Europe, most especially Champions League, because that spot is there for the taking. If it takes us back, good deal. Give him his new contract. If he fails to take us back to Europe, if he takes us to the Conference League, sack him. Because he's playing one game a week. He's dropped out of all he's dropped out of all the cups, right? He's dropped out of all the cups. Carabao Cup, FA Cup. So that means he's focusing on he's only focusing on one thing, right? He's focusing on one thing. He's only focusing on one thing. Premier League, top four. He needs to get there, right? But I need to know. I need to know your thoughts. And then the last story of the day, lads, is that Arsenal are very, very close to getting in that the new goalkeeper. Personal terms definitely agreed with Matt Turner. He was going to be very, very willing to join. His USA's goalkeeper, number one, and of course Fabrizio Romano, confirming again, has been very, very important. Romano and his updates, very, very important in giving us an update around there, around that deal. So Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has told Ban Leno he can leave. Leno at the moment is still contemplating about going to Newcastle. I think he's afraid of relegation. He's afraid of joining them in relegation, right? So a couple of clubs in Germany and Spain have contacted him, but he would love to try out something elsewhere away from Arsenal. So Arsenal are working very, very, very closely with the agents, with the representatives of the player. That is Matt Turner, and he will be Arsenal's first signing if nothing dramatic really, really happens. I think 7 million, 8 million, that should be the fee. And I think, listen, I've said this before, for a backup goalkeeper, Romano was speaking about it and was saying that Arsenal now do have Ramsdale as their first choice goalkeeper, and Matt Turner is also a decent goalkeeper. I think when it comes to goalkeeping, you need someone that when he comes in, he can provide you with a kind of quality. Not almost at the same level. I mean, you could have them, Dean Henderson and David De Gea, Ban Leno and Emiliano Martinez, Leno and Ramsdale. You could have that quality, but you could also just have this kind of quality where you have Almunia and Chesney. We have Matt Turner and Ramsdale. Ramsdale is a very, very good goalkeeper, and Matt Turner is also very, is an average goalkeeper. So, look, I won't be really concerned if Matt Turner comes in. We might go back to Europa League. He's going to be playing in the Europa League. I hope he doesn't make so many mistakes that we do not actually get out of the group stages. So Matt Turner, personal terms, our great player, 100% wants to join Arsenal. Talks are going on very, very smoothly between the two clubs, and we expect something to be announced very, very soon. If not this weekend, then at the beginning of the week. Yeah, right. So I've also seen something about Jack Wilshere, Arsenal trying to give Jack Wilshere a contract, but that is that is not true. That information that you've seen anywhere, it's not true. Arsenal at the moment are not trying to give Jack Wilshere a 6-month loan deal. But it's not loan deal, but contract, short-term contract. But let's wait and see. Lastly, Allegri, that is the manager at Juve, has been speaking about Arthur to Arsenal, and the speculation is said the squad The squad is this, and it will remain this. I repeat, Arthur. I repeat, Arthur came from 6 months of inactivity. His playing time is increasing, and the results are evident. He is a player that cannot be discussed. Interesting from Allegri. Absolutely, absolutely interesting. Because Allegri has been speaking in his press conference. He also spoke about Ramsey, and this is what he said about Ramsey. I wish I could just find it very, very, very soon. Uh, Max Allegri has confirmed that Aaron Ramsey will be leaving Juventus. So on one side, he says Arthur is a player that cannot be discussed, and then on the other side, he says Ramsey will be leaving. So again, Arsenal now do understand where they are. I think it's been very, very hard for us to deal with Juve. It's been very, very hard. Um, Remember last summer when we were trying to get Manuel Locatelli? Is it Lacatelli? Is it Locatelli? Lacatelli? I think it's Lacatelli. Is it Lacatelli? Yeah, Manuel Lacatelli. It was a very, very difficult one. And then Arthur now, very difficult one, difficult one as well. But anyway, guys, let's discuss Mikel Arteta. That is what I want. Those are the comments I'm going to be taking. Do you think Mikel Arteta should get a new role? Sorry, a new contract as an Arsenal manager and more money, or do you think we should wait and see where he finishes at the end of the season? I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Give Arteta a new contract, but Arsenal need to buy him some new players to fulfill his project. That is the question, lads. Do you give him the contract before you give him players, or do you give him players, he uses them, and then you give him a new contract? Because that's it. I think we might be heading into that situation where Everton find themselves. Everton, they brought in players for Rafa Benitez, but if a new manager comes in and is like, "These are not the kind of players I want. I can't use them. This is not my project. I'm not running this project." What do? Right? So the question is, do you give him the expensive signings? Then if he uses them, you give him a contract, or do you give him a contract now, see what he does, and if he does well, give him more players in the summer, and then a contract as well. It's interesting. It's interesting. But thank you so much there for the comment, Chris. Onas, not Chris. Anu says, for me, let Arsenal board and Kroenke back Arteta in the summer with some amount of money and get the players he wants, and let us see how he does before any contract. I think that's a huge point, Arno. That's a huge point, because if you back him and he doesn't do well, then it would be easy for you to bring in a new manager without spending a lot of money to break his contract, to pay off Mikel Arteta's contract. You bring in a manager who you feel is he's kind of those kind of, because I think what Mikel has is very similar to Jurgen Klopp, a kind of fatherly hands, those kind of very, very soft hands with his with their players. I've seen Jurgen Klopp is admirable. It's admirable. I mean, I've seen him hug his players every after game. I've seen him, celebrate with his players. I've seen him hug them. I've seen him. It's admirable. It's admirable. Right. Very, very. But of course, he also loves Martinelli. He loves Martinelli. I mean, apart from his players. But I think with Arno, what you're saying is true for me. If you give him, let us bring in players. Give him the players. We've driven out the deadwood. I think the rest of the deadwood will be living in the summer. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Nketiah, and maybe Xhaka. Xhaka could stay around. I might care less. Right? 3 of them are probably the likes of Chambers and Cedric as well. Will be leaving out of the deal with the likes of Pablo Mari. So if all that deadwood goes, all that deadwood is erased, then let's see how he does with a clean squad. If he messes around, because we might be happy with Mikel, or you might be happy with Mikel, but suddenly there are things that he has not achieved yet. There are things that he has not achieved yet. We've not seen him two semifinals, that the last two semifinals he's played, he's bottled them. We don't want another Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. No. We do not want another Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We don't want, one Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for ourselves who bottles every semi-final he plays or every final he plays in. We don't want. Right. So, and I think, right. Let's get to some of your comments. Brian says, is this Brian Sharifa? Sharifa. Interesting. You give Arteta what he needs, and you see, because you see he's building a young generation like Pochettino had at Spurs between 28 to 20 years. Building a young project. By the time Poch got sacked at Spurs, it was rippling, right? The energy he had created had started, it was kind of a boomerang. So do we wait for that boomerang? Do we wait for that point where it's a boomerang, or do we go, no, we're not waiting for that. We're not waiting for that. Thank you so much. You've done very well. You can leave. Let's get in someone better, right? But you're also right. I think if you give a manager time, I mean, unless you are as impatient as I am, but if you give a manager time, it comes with some advantages. And the backbone that Spurs have, and the attitude, the mentality of them wanting to win, it has been built by Pochettino by taking them to that UEFA Champions League final. Right, by making them believe that they can finish in the top four more regularly, by making them believe that they can finish above Arsenal all the time, by making them believe that they're a big team. It's very different from when they had the likes of Hodgson and Redknapp. This was a Spurs side that, Spurs have crashed out of any competition. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay. We're Spurs. Yeah, right. Our Spurs have qualified for the Champions League. Wow, it's interesting. Wow, it's very interesting. But now, if Mikel can also do that, take us back, and that's what I'm saying. Can he be that kind of manager that brings back the Arsenal spirits? Can he be that kind of manager that makes us feel that we are a big team again? Can he be that manager that makes us feel that we belong to the Champions League? Can he be that manager that we finish second or first with in the Premier League and the Champions League? Can he be? I mean, that is why I need your thoughts, lads, and I'm gonna keep taking more of them. Regan says, Cossy, I agree with you on design. That's being extravagant. Thank you so much, bro. Trimo says, Cossy, Arteta needs a contract to feel at home. He will deliver if he's settled, and also to fend off Manchester City. He likes Arsenal. I mean, that is the question. Let me give you an example. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is wanted by a couple of clubs 2 years ago. Arsenal under pressure. They give him a huge contract. He's comfortable. Lad is now misbehaving, and he's comfortable. So with managers and players, when you give him a new contract, it could be two things. One, it could be that point where you're like, I'm comfortable now. Yeah, I'm comfortable. Or it could be that that kind of reinforcement. I got a new contract, 2 years. Let me use these 2 years to get another 3 years at Arsenal with more money. Right? because we can't underestimate and we cannot take anything away from Mikel Arteta. Whatever he has done as a manager is absolutely visible, especially in the last 6 months or so at this club. He's been stumbling. It's a project that is gonna, stand, fall, stumble, fall. At least we can see what is done with it. But not very fast. Not very fast. We need more, right? And look, as an Arsenal fan, lads, I know it has been taken away. The feeling of us being a big club, the feeling of us being a ruthless club, the feeling of us being a no-nonsense club. It's been taken away. But remember, Arsene Wenger finished in the top four for 20 years, and people say if you're not taking us to win the trophy, get out of this club. You remember that? That is the mentality we need to have. It was never wrong. It was not wrong, right? It was not wrong. We are a big club and we need to be up there, fighting up there. It is disrespectful that we're not playing in Europe, but it's even more disrespectful that we are not playing in Europe and we are how many points away from right, let me look at the table because we're very, very far away from the top. Far away. Very, very far away from the top. Where are my standings? Here they are. So this is it. City have just a moment. City have 56 points. Right? City have 56 points and Arsenal have 35. That is 21 points off the top. With 2 games in hand, so 21 minus 6, that's around 15. So we are 15 points off the top. 15 points off the top. Liverpool have 45 points, and we have 35 with a game in hand. So we are around 7 points off Liverpool. Yeah, we are around 7 points off Liverpool. If we win our game in hand, we are around 7 points of Liverpool. Okay, that is not very disrespectful, considering the kind of cohesion and unity and consensus and kind of project that they built, within the structures there at Anfield. Maybe it is not very embarrassing, but off the top, lads, off the top, off the top. That is where the top is where Arsene Wenger is what was sacked. That is why we sacked him. You can't take us to the top. Get out. We have spent 20 years without a trophy. Get out. So we cannot now say Mikel Arteta's finished fifth. He's done well. Give him a new contract. No, I can't say that. I'm not going to be part of that range. Yeah, I can't be part of that range. He either does well. He's either doing well or doing poorly. That's it. He's either doing well or doing poorly. Right. Right. The Sports Journal, my man, says if Dusan's deal is getting at a stale stage, we should start thinking of other players. By the way, Arsenal once wanted to sign Cover 11. What happened? Thank you so much. Please make sure you do subscribe to the Sports Channel. It's one he's made a very, very interesting piece about Chess Fabregas. So make sure you do check it out, please, and please do check it out. Right. I think this is a point. This is a big point around Dusan Vlahovic, and I think Arsenal should be thinking about this very, very, very strongly now. Very, very strongly. We're thinking about Jonathan David in terms of alternatives, but Calvert-Lewin, we are still interested. He's not having a very, very good season because of injuries, but I think that is one for the summer. I doubt, we would see Arsenal really get him. I doubt we'd see Arsenal really get him there in January. It'd be interesting if Arsenal could get that done in January. It'd be very, very interesting. Hassan says yes, he can. Oh, right. Oh, that's Mikel Arteta. He can. Good afternoon, Cossy. Arsenal is just beating a dead house on Dusan. All right. Well said there. Well said. Okay. I need to look at some of your comments here again. Uh, Peter says, I'm from South Sudan. Arsenal's good and bad performance is what is what caused by three parties: board, technical team, and the players. Therefore, our current issue needs a serious analysis. How many times can we say that? How many times can we speak about that? We've spoken about it over and over again. Definitely over and over again. Yeah. And look, I think it's one issue where Arsenal um can consider themselves lucky. Yes, we've fallen deep, but management is one part of is one part that can kill a corporation, that can kill an organization. And I think Arsenal are lucky that we are there. We are lucky that we've not fallen that deep. Right, lads. Thanks, everybody. I'll be back with Michelate's press conference and the preview. And of course, later in the evening, I'll be discussing more transfers. Why don't you join me later? We'll discuss more about that. Smash a like on the video. We'll be discussing much more Arsenal news. I'll be live on 99 Sport for. I think I should be doing watch alongs there. So we'll be live for those games that are happening today. West Ham, Manchester United, big game. So make sure you do join me there.